Now, we've been looking at different types of data structures built into Java. In our last example, we looked at priority queues, and we looked at it with just a regular old string. This would work with strings and integers and things like that, and it automatically sorted using kind of what we call a natural sort. Well, what happens if we have something like a product? And you see I've got a priority queue here, and it's of type product, and I've got several products already listed. Now, there's nothing special about this product. You can see here it's just a public class. It has two class level attributes, a name and a price. Obviously, in a real-world environment, there would be a lot more. And I've added these to the queue. I do a printout of the queue, and then I do a while is empty just so we can see them in order. The question is, what order is it going to put them in? So let's run this real quick and see what happens. Now, I do want to point out real quick that there was absolutely zero errors or even warnings with my code and syntax. Yet I still got this exception that was thrown. And that was a product cannot be cast to a type comparable. So what this means is a type comparable is how do we compare two different objects? So how do we know what order to put them in? So what I'm going to have to do is come over here to product, and I'm going to implement comparable. Now you notice that I get an error right away. This is because this interface has an abstract method that I'm going to need to override. So I'm going to come down here, public int. If I want to know what the method name is, I can always look at this up here. Now I happen to know it's compare to, and it's going to be about object O. Now you might go, well, wait a second, object O, I'm dealing with a product. You're correct. So we're going to say product P equals, then we're going to cast product of O. This will cast us to the right type of product. So I need to return an integer. How am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to return either a 1 or a -1. That's just the simplest form. And that allows me to check when I compare two objects one to another. Remember, I'm only looking at the object that's being passed into me and the object that I currently have. I don't care about anything else. So just a 1 and -1 makes it real easy. Because it's so simple, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the unary operator. So I'm going to say return, and then I'm going to have essentially it's an if statement. I'm going to do this.price if it's less than p.getPrice. So this is a conditional. This is a Boolean value, so we can't return this. So this is where the question mark comes in. This is unary. So my condition, question mark, and then I have a true value and a false value. I'm going to say 1, -1. You notice that now this returns an integer value. Notice that my errors have gone away. If I come up here to product, it's gone away. I do have a warning with comparable. So this is kind of giving me a little bit of information about it. I can see if this is going to be a problem or not. I can look at my problems tab. In Visual Studio Code, it says comparable is a raw type. Okay, so I can kind of look and mess with that. But for what we're doing for this example, this is fine for us. I'm going to come back to my priority queue. Notice I'm not going to make any changes at all here. This is just exactly the way it was. This time I'm going to run it. And you'll notice that now it loads up all those things. So the priority queue is looking for that comparable interface and that compare to method. In fact, there's other things that are looking for it as well that we're not using. And sometimes they're only needed if we're going to sort them or do a reverse sort on them, things like that. If I look at my printout when I do the pull method, well, here I can see, okay, I'm showing in descending order. You might say, well, what's descending order? Did I want it ascending or descending? Well, that depends on how you're doing it. What is your priority queue? A lot of times we think priority, higher numbers. So when we're doing this, we have an option. In my product, if I want to have it in reverse order, so it was lowest to highest, I could simply come here and swap this 1 and -1, or I could swap this less than and greater than sign. Notice if it's equal, It's going to be treated the same as if it was less than, so that's fine for us. Okay, so it's just a matter of how do we want to do this? What's the order we want to put things in? Typically highest to lowest. In this case, we did prices. Now, could we have done something else like ID number? Sure. Could we have done something else like maybe a complete arbitrary sorting value? You bet. In a lot of cases, that might be what we do, is we have this arbitrary sorting value that we use. So for example, in a hospital, is it life and death? Is it serious? Is it not serious? Is it superficial? Is it just, routine checkup? And so depending upon what we're going to do in our situation, how we set that comparative method to work is going to change how that priority queue is going to work. And so this is just a perfect example of that. Keep looking for more examples of built-in Java data structures